Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Welcome back to Teeing Off with Tom. So, in lesson number 1, we focused on balance and alignment. Now, that position that we were working on finding with the weight of our body over our ankles is critical for every shot that we play. Now, most of us, when we putt, that's going to account for about 50% of the shots that we play in any given round. Personally, I prefer to hole out from the fairway than to putt. So in today's lesson, we're going to be thinking a lot, we're going to be talking a lot about some things that maybe you haven't thought of when you putt, or things we're going to practice that maybe haven't occurred to you in the past. I encourage you all to keep an open mind during this process, and maybe you'll learn something. I really want to thank the 1.6 million viewers from last week for joining us again. It's great to have you back. We have got a great lighting guy. Unfortunately, he ran into some supply chain issues this week, so apologies in advance. Let's go tee off. All right, guys. So the 3 variables we're going to be talking about today that we control that decide where the ball goes are path, face, and speed. One thing you're going to hear us talking a lot about is efficiency, right? There's a lot of ways for us to get certain results, but I would argue that there's one that's the most efficient. So when we talk about my shoulders can work around my body, or they can work up and down to get the club to swing. I would argue that my shoulders working up and down is the most efficient because the club is traveling towards the target for the longest period of time. Second variable is going to be face. So if we take a look, when I move my hands to the left or move my hands to the right, we can see that the face is going to move, thus affecting where the ball goes. Third variable is going to be speed. However much power we put into our swing and transfer into the club and then into the ball is going to affect how far the ball goes. So I've been working on this shot, this new putting stroke. I want you guys to take a look. Now, most of you could probably watch that and say, Tom, that was probably not the most efficient way for you to get the ball to go into the hole. So what we're going to be spending time doing now is taking those 3 variables, understanding how they work together and how they produce different results so that ultimately we can be in control of that here on the putting green, but also our brain can take that information and understand how that's relating to what's happening when we're making full swings. Okay, guys, so if you notice here, I've got my putting station set up at my house. I've got a couple of different reference points. If you remember in episode 1, we talked about how important reference points are. They're going to help us gauge where our body and where the club is as we're working through our shot. So I've got my yard stakes here. I've got my putting cup. I've got my coaster from the great state of Iowa. Now what you'll notice is in this putting cup, I have a really, really small ring or a really small hole. So in the 2000 wartime epic, The Patriot, Mel Gibson taught me to aim small, miss small, right? If we zone in our mind on a very small target within the actual target that we're aiming at, we have a better chance of getting the result that we want, all right? So let's take a look. Understanding what we've gone over so far, all right? When I swing the path of my club, which again is controlled by my shoulders, if I swing the path of my club to the left side of this hole, and the club face is perpendicular or at a 90-degree angle to that path, if you notice what happens is the ball goes right where my club points to the left side of that center hole. All right. If we do the opposite, or we do the other side, if I swing my path to the right side of this hole and the face is perpendicular to that path, the ball goes right where my club points to the right side of the hole. Now in golf, the ball does not always go where our club points. right? Because most of the time our face is not exactly perpendicular to our path. The second that this face is offset or at a different angle relative to our path, the ball is going to spin to some degree, right? If we're thinking about our other sports, when we throw a ball, the ball usually just goes where our arm points because face is not a variable that we have to use or we have to think about when we're throwing a ball. Okay, guys, now that we've talked about path and face, and we know that when our face is at a 90-degree angle or perpendicular to our path, the ball goes where our club points. Now we're really going to start working on working the ball or making the ball slice or hook. Now, some of us might think this is crazy. Why would I practice slicing or hooking a putt? Well, like we said before, this not only helps us feel what perfectly square is, because most of us have not gone through this activity before, but this is also helping us understand that when we go out and we hit shots on the golf course, we can understand cause and effect and how our path and our face might be giving us the results that we've gotten. Now, personally, I'm not sure what it's like to hit a ball out of the woods, but I've heard from friends that it can be very useful to be able to hook and slice the ball when you find yourself in some of these positions. So we're going to do that now. So like we said, if I swing the path of my club to the left side of the hole and the face is perpendicular to that path, the ball is going to go where my club points. If I want to swing my path to the left side of the hole or make the ball slice or move back towards the target, I'm going to have to adjust my face the opposite direction. So let's see how that works. Notice now the ball is not going where my club's pointed, right? Because the face is no longer perpendicular to my path. Now we'll do the opposite one. For us right-handed golfers, this is going to be a hook, right? Where our ball is starting to the right and spinning to the left. So if I'm going to swing my path out to the right side of the hole, but I want the ball to go in the hole or towards the target, I'm going to have to turn my face the opposite direction. Notice again, the ball is not going where my club's pointed because the face is no longer perpendicular. The ball is going to be spinning. One of the essential things that I want you guys to be thinking about when you're hitting these hooks and slices when you're putting is that our shoulders, we want our shoulders to match the path that we want to swing the club on. So if I imagine I'm going to hit a hook shot or a shot that starts out to the right and spins to the left, for me as a right-handed golfer, when I finish my putt, my shoulders need to be pointed to the right. Flip side of that, if I want to hit a slice putt, my shoulders are going to need to be pointed to the left when I finish that shot. So one way that's really useful, we talked about reference points in lesson number 1, is a wall. So if I get myself set up to this wall, put my hands on my shoulders, remember our shoulders are always working up and down, just depending on the direction that they're going to finish. So I'm going to feel my straight putt, I'm going to feel my hook putt, and I'm going to feel my slice putt. So I'm going to run you through one of the little exercises that we practice at Victory Links. This is our ladder drill. So what I'm going to do is on the first putt, I'm going to slice it. Second putt, I'm going to hook it. Third putt, I'm going to hit it straight. So when I hit my slice, my club or my putter is going to end up to the left side of the hole, but hopefully the ball is going to go towards the hole. Now I'm going to hit a hook. So I'm going to swing my path to the right side of the hole, but my face is going to be pointed to the left. Notice when I finish that shot, my shoulders are pointed out to the right. This is going to be one of those things that's going to feel a little awkward for most of us because most of us have a tendency to move our shoulders to the left or hit a slice. Now, doing the slice and the hook ultimately makes it so much easier for my brain to feel what the center is. Most of us, the only way that we can really know where the center of something is if we understand both sides, okay? So by hitting a hook and by hitting a slice and sort of zoning in and doing those just to a smaller and smaller degree, it's going to allow us to feel a whole lot better about hitting a straight putt. So what I want you guys to do is when you're at home and you're practicing, these are some of the equipment that we use. These are going to help us identify our reference points to help us identify our path. I'm using this coaster to help me see what perfectly square is for my face, which again can get a little convoluted and get twisted if we're not paying attention. My putting cup right here, again, Mel Gibson, he knows what he's talking about, is that we should aim small, miss small. So something you can use at home is like a battery or something really small to aim at and practice hitting different sides of that battery. Last thing I want to say to you guys is that it's really important when we're practicing that we don't put value on shots that we hit. Just like what we saw when I made my first brand new stroke over here, that was not the most efficient way to do it, but I got the correct result. So what I want you guys to do is when you're practicing this, try not to put value on the shots that you hit and say, that was good, that was bad. Take all of this as information that's going into your computer brain that can be used to understand, and then ultimately, as we keep going, control what the ball's going to do. Thank you guys for joining me for this unique putting lesson. I want you guys to really focus in when you're practicing to experience what a slice and what a hook putt is. What you're going to find from doing this is not only are you going to be able to learn and experience what our body does to make those shots happen, but it's also going to help you realize, maybe I was hooking or slicing my putts a little bit, and this is going to make that way more obvious. Because the only way we know where the middle of something is it's equidistant between the edge and the edge. So when we feel what a slice is, we feel what a hook is, our brain can fill in that space and understand what's in the middle. Not only that, but these rules of what's happening in terms of our path and our face and our body apply when we putt, but also apply when we're making a full swing. Okay, but now when we're putting, things are happening slow enough where we can experience and feel what our body's doing, what the club's doing, and the result of what the ball's doing. If you guys have any questions about this video, I'm available between 2:15 and 2:45 Mondays and the third Friday of every month. Hope to see you guys next time on Teeing Off with Tom.
Man, that's pure.